Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Charleston picked up over a half-inch of rain on Wednesday, but compared to average, we are still behind a bit month-to-date and year-to-date. The deficit is still about 4 inches, so our drought map is unchanged today. Ongoing moderate to severe drought conditions for much of West Virginia, and we will not see that change, at least not in the direction we want in the next 7 days, because just to keep up with average, we need over an inch of rain in a 7-day period. If that happens anywhere, it's locally north, but most of us just won't see enough even to keep up with average, let alone to see any improvement. Clear tonight, some frost east, then gradually from the north as we head through your afternoon on Friday, a few showers trying to work their way into the region. Widespread wet weather from the west as we head through Friday evening, overnight into Saturday morning. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home, trending warmer through the weekend if you're headed toward D.C., Charlotte, New York, but Chicago cooler on Sunday. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast, this next round, anywhere for a quarter inch or more, we have to look about Moundsville and north of there. Meanwhile, bottoming out in low to mid 40s here overnight, and we'll top off in the mid 60s for your Friday. Less than 1/10 of an inch for this next round of rain Friday to Saturday as we start to look east. Temperatures here generally in the 40s overnight. Davis representing a frosty spot. Meanwhile, we'll have highs 69 for Charlestown, 56 for Davis on Friday. You go south of Clarksburg, running into less than 1/10 of an inch. Temperatures that'll be back in some frosty territory towards, say, Snowshoe. Not as much as you push towards, say, Harrisville. And highs ranging from mid-50s in the cool spots to 70 toward Ripley on Friday. South of Charleston might stay dry from the Friday to Saturday round of rain. Temperatures here, more mid-30s east to low 40s west, and highs that'll be in the 70s in the warm spots. Additional showers and thunderstorms possible for Mother's Day into Monday morning.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Five, three,
Red 57! Red 57! Hot, hot!
I don't believe what I just saw. Bill McKenzie hits a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
Thursday night on the Sportsline, and the crew is here. Kyle Wiggs, Greg Hunter, Brad Howe. A lot to talk about. First of all, gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, boys.
Good to see you again.
Yep.
We've got, we'll talk golf again. Coach Sean Covich, after the NCAA tournament regional berth was earned, couldn't join us live last night, but we think he's available tonight, so we'll talk to him. Also, this huge baseball series, West Virginia ranked 15th at number 7 Kansas. It starts tomorrow night, and I spent a few minutes about an hour ago with Brian Hanni, who, of course, is the football and the basketball play-by-play guy for Kansas. He also does baseball, and, of course, Kansas is flying high, and they've got a coach in Dan Fitzgerald who has kind of come out of nowhere, recruiting the junior college ranks, as Tyler Barnett emphasized last night, and he's got Kansas in a position where they're in the top 10 for the first time in program history, have a chance to host a regional for the first time in program history. So we'll kind of preview that series and get a Kansas perspective. I thought it was interesting because there's a lot of parallels between what Dan Fitzgerald is doing at Kansas and what Randy Mazey and Steve Sabins have done here at West Virginia.
Yeah, that is not a traditional power in the Jayhawks, playing in a tough weather environment. So I think you're right. I think there are a lot of parallels. Let's just hope this particular week that it's so historic for them and such a big deal, Greg. They got a lot of things. They should spend a lot of time this week, in my opinion, My opinion, Greg. I did it for a long time, worked in athletics for a long time. I think a lot of them, coach included, should spend time worrying about the hosting plan and what they're going to do. And Kyle, they've never hosted before, so there's a lot of questions that come with that. Should be a bunch of meetings leading into Friday's series.
Distractions.
That coach needs to be over there, and maybe a couple of their key players seeing what they want to. Worry about hosting.
We'll see how that all shakes out. But Brian Hanni, baseball voice of Kansas as well, we'll have some pre-recorded comments from him later in the show. But first, we got a lot of basketball news. So where do you want to start, NCAA tournament or the players?
No, let's do players.
Okay.
NCAA tournament we talked about. It's expanding. It's official. It's moving on to the bigger field. It'll be more of a story as we get into March with that part of it.
Okay.
I think the bigger news is the players era information. The first part of it is out, and that's who the teams are in the bracket that West Virginia is going to be playing in. And I guess that was news that it's in two pieces.
Right.
Was that news today too?
Yes.
There's an 8-team field that West Virginia is part of, and then there's a 16-team field playing the week after West Virginia's game. So the week of November 16th in Las Vegas is the Players Era 8. West Virginia is part of that, and it's a great field as well. Florida, Houston, Kansas, Auburn, West Virginia, Notre Dame, Rutgers, and UNLV playing in the Players Era 8. We'll see a bracket come out later on down the road, but those are the teams that West Virginia will potentially face off with, playing in 3 games out in Las Vegas starting on November 16th.
And then the next week is Thanksgiving week, and there's 16 teams as part of that event. So you've got reigning national champion Michigan. They're the headliner, joined by Alabama, Gonzaga, St. John's, Louisville, Tennessee, Iowa State, Miami, Texas Tech, Baylor, Maryland, TCU, Oregon, Creighton, San Diego State, and Kansas State. So, as you would expect, a massive Big 12 presence in both weeks of the tournament.
Yeah, and that's part of the deal that came out. When was that? Last year. So the Big 12 is basically partnered up with this event to allow more entries from the league into the event. So you've got it there. It's one of those, I don't know how excited I am to play Houston and Kansas early in the season as a non-conference there, but if you can avoid those and play some of those others, that's a good field. Obviously, Florida in there is really good. Auburn was a team that went out and won the NIT after not making the NCAA tournament. You'd love to have a matchup with Notre Dame, reprise the old Big East.
Yeah.
Rutgers, for that matter, go play Rutgers, and then UNLV is the home team out there. So that's a pretty significant event early in the season and gives you a couple really good non-conference games and potentially an opportunity for some quad 1 wins early in the season.
So it is unusual to have other teams from your conference in these MTE events, but it's the way of the world now. But Brad, explain how the NIL is going to work. Do you understand how that's going to work?
No, I don't.
This?
We'll have to get more details on that. I don't know, and I haven't looked into that closely enough to see if it's exactly like the Crown, where it all goes into the players, or some comes back to the program. But we'll get those details here soon.
One other change is last year, you remember, you had 2 games that were scheduled. You had 2 opponents you knew were going to play, and then the third opponent was determined by the outcomes of the first 2 games. This year, it's going to be a true bracket for both the early format, the 8-team format, and then the larger format Thanksgiving week. So a true bracket, as you mentioned, that'll be released a little bit later.
Yeah, and they had to go that way. I get what they were trying to do and be creative about that, like mixing it in there, but it was almost AAU-esque, right? Score differential came into play, but there were teams that didn't know who they were playing, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and you were playing the next day at 10 or 11. So that didn't work out. They couldn't execute on what I think was a pretty creative and fun idea. They just couldn't execute. They had to go back to this where you have some sort of bracket, so there is some ability to scout ahead or look ahead, or as you get into the tournament, have some idea of who you may play.
I assume with this event growing to 2 separate tournaments, the money's growing. I mean, it's excellent money. Started in 2024 with 8 teams and then grew a little bit last year. But that first year, it was like $1 million per team.
And part of this is ESPN was announced today as the primary vehicle to televise these games. Will be on some sort of ESPN network. So you hope there's a good chunk of money that came from ESPN for the TV rights, and then get some sponsors lined up and go make a little money. The goal is to have it be 2 things, really, in essence, what the Crown was. It's just an early season tournament like that where you can make some money for school for the guys, but then you also get some real good head-to-head matchups with some high-leverage opponents that give you some buzz in the early season. And it's becoming now the premier preseason MTE in the country, Greg. And Atlanta certainly took a hit last year with its field. We saw West Virginia go down and have 2 good games in its tournament down in Charleston, but this one is turning into the one you want to be in. And the thing to remember, West Virginia's in this for 2 straight years now at a minimum, because you qualified for these based on where your finish was the year before. And West Virginia now, with 2 straight byes in the Big 12 tournament, has earned it automatic entry into this tournament this year and the following year. So that's significant from a dollar standpoint, that getting those buys isn't just good for reputation. It's actually made you some money with automatic entry into this event.
Should point out, and Kyle, you looked this up, that's towards the end of football season. West Virginia will have a home game that weekend, a Saturday game at home against Houston. So that's the conflict for those of us that are paying attention to.
I don't know that it's a conflict. I think this tournament's going to be earlier in the week, both weeks. And that's not, I don't know that that's determined yet, but I think that was the original intent, was to have these earlier in the week of each of these weeks. But stay tuned on that. Don't quote me on that to be gospel.
A lot of times those tournaments are split, where you play, it starts on Thanksgiving, you play Thursday and Friday, off Saturday for football, and then play Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think that's what this is.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, West Virginia in November has back-to-back home games, the 14th against Kansas, the 21st, which is the week that West Virginia is involved in the Vegas basketball tournament, home to Houston, and then the Thanksgiving week game Friday night on the road at Utah. So the end of the college football season. 304 Talk 304, your comments on these events. And again, it is official. The NCAA basketball tournament is expanding, and it will grow starting next spring, expanding the Division I men's and women's championship tournaments from 68 teams to 76 teams, and that's the largest increase since it went to 64 teams back in the 80s, 1985. So the first 4, again, that becomes a 12-game opening round. Instead of 2 games on Tuesday and 2 games on Wednesday, you've got 12 opening round games with this new format. And there you go, more March Madness.
It sounds like they're going to, listen to Dan Gavitt's comments, they're going to play on those play-in games, those first round of games. So Dayton will have one of the sites, the second site to be determined. Bids will be starting here in the next couple of days. But those games are going to start earlier in the afternoon. So more basketball and daytime basketball on those play-in games. Hunter, you know my stance. Give me more games, and you put games on during the day. Let's roll.
Yeah, and again, Brad, I mean, I've listened to national pundits. Everybody seems to be against this.
Everybody hates it.
I don't have any problem.
I don't either.
Like you, more basketball, the better.
Give me more games.
Yeah, early in the tournament, early in the week. Why not? You're coming off championship week. 304 Talk 304, your comments on these developments. And again, coming up, Mountaineer golf coach Sean Covich. They're headed to Arizona for a regional, and a little bit on this high-flying Kansas baseball program. West Virginia will try and take them down this weekend. We'll have that conversation a little bit later on the Sportsline. Whether you are at home or running a business, CityNet Fiber delivers the speed and reliability you need. Check your address and explore your options today at citynet.net. Remember, CityNet connects, protects, and perfects.
Running a small business means wearing a lot of hats, and dealing with tech problems shouldn't be one of them. CityNet helps West Virginia businesses keep their technology running smoothly, from networks and computers to backup, security, and day-to-day support. Whether you don't have IT staff or you have a small team that could use extra help, CityNet can take care of the technology or work alongside your team to fill in the gaps. With proactive monitoring, fast local support, and solutions built on CityNet's fiber network, your business stays productive instead of reactive. Call us at 1-844-CityNet to get started.
This boating season, elevate your family time with Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Proudly family-owned for over 40 years, Lou and his sons are West Virginia's largest Avalon pontoon dealer. Trusted experts in premium boats, motors, and service. Discover refined comfort, elegant design, and performance you can feel. Now is the perfect time to take advantage of preseason savings. At Lou Wendell Marine Sales, they don't just sell boats. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com because the weekend's almost here.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The Health Plan, we are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
Looking for a show that talks about everything? You found it.
By the way, I'm really happy to talk about this as opposed to Ryan's opinion that being a sports fan is a bad thing.
He said that it kept him from being stressed about it, not that it was a bad thing, that they didn't have the stress. And, I mean, I've seen you pace.
Yeah, you're only 30 and you look like that.
So true. So
Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on MetroNews Television.
CityNet statewide Sportsline. We're inside the Health Plan Studios. Thanks for joining us. Kyle Wiggs, Greg Hunter, Brad Howe. Pleased to be joined by Mountaineer golf coach Sean Covich, who got the good news yesterday that the Mountaineers are headed once again for an NCAA Regional event. And, Coach, good evening to you. Congratulations, and thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Okay, so we joked last night, we all became amateur golf bracketologists yesterday for at least an hour or two when the brackets came out. And to the novice, it appears a little bit puzzling that you're going all the way to Arizona when there were regionals in Columbus, Ohio, and Virginia, and some that were a little bit closer. So, and one of the analysts on TV commented that the top 11 seeds coming into Columbus would have to fly in there, where you could get on a bus and be there in about 4 hours. So explain to us how this works in terms of seating and in terms of location for the golf regionals.
Yeah, the championship selection committee, all they are focused on is a balanced regional at each site, meaning geographically there is a regional in, say, Athens, Georgia. So if you just took the closest teams to go play there, you would end up with a very, very difficult regional to get through, whereas the teams that made it to Corvallis, Oregon, if they went regionally, would be very easy to get through. So they don't really care about your travel or anything like that. They're just trying to have equally balanced regional sites. There's 6 across the country. Some are closer to us than others, but you remember one year they sent us to regional Rancho Santa Fe, California, and it kind of worked out for us. So, if they want to send us out west again, I'm totally cool with that.
So, Sean, by virtue of getting sent out to Tucson area, you're going to be playing a course that's probably a little bit different than what you're used to. It's a desert-style course. So how unusual is this course? How difficult is it going to be for your players to adjust?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different. I mean, the temperature is going to be in the upper 90s. The golf ball is going to go a long way out there. So that's definitely going to be different. And then the golf course design, where it's basically an island fairway out there because you're in the middle of the desert, and if you miss the fairway, then you're on a rock or in the desert or up against a cactus or a bush, and you just you might break your club. So yeah, it's definitely different. But we played in Arizona's tournament 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago, and then last year we played in what's the NIT of college golf. Because we just outside the NCAA Regional committee or the selection last year, so we went to the NIT, or it's called the National Golf Invitational. It was actually just south of Phoenix, about an hour from where we're playing now. So we've been out there to Arizona 3 straight years leading into this year. So we're kind of familiar with it, and I think our guys are going to be comfortable out there.
Sean, let's go back for a second and look big picture, because golf is really unique in that you have the fall and the spring season. But if I'm understanding this correctly, it all factors in to the selection going into this NCAA Regional that you're going into. So just give us a little bit of a revised history here on how the season was. You came out of the gate, were blistering hot, and then you finished up the season incredibly well at the Mountaineer Invitational. So just overall thoughts on the season and how it played itself out.
Yeah, you're right. Everything does count. Stuff we do in September, October, those tournaments matter just as much as what you do at Big 12 Championship. So it all matters, and thank God it matters, because we played really good in the fall and not so great in the spring. So the fall definitely carried us. And, we recapped our season last night at our banquet. We talked about, the highlights and the stats and the records. And I finally got to look back over the year, and I put the numbers in. I'm like, this has been the best regular season in school history. It just kind of snuck up on me. And we won 3 times. We've never done that in 1 year before. Our scoring average is the best we've ever had. It's the best win-loss record against all opponents this year. I think we've had 105 victories against all opponents, over 60% win percentage. So all that stuff is, what led us to get an at-large bid. And, we started really hot in the fall, played great, came out in February and March and really played some bad golf, which I guess is kind of understandable when you can't even hit off grass in West Virginia. So, I mean, we're always going to start out a little slow. I just didn't think we'd start out that slow. But we made up for it with great showings at the Georgia Southern Schenkel Invitational, where we nearly won it, and we beat teams like Notre Dame and Mississippi State that really helped our ranking. And then obviously our home event was outstanding, nearly won that tournament, only got beat by Clemson, and we tied Texas Tech, who's top, I think, 6 in the country, and then we beat defending national champs Oklahoma State, top 5 Arkansas. So that definitely kind of sealed our bid to the NCAA tournament.
Having said that, what are your thoughts on the seed line, number 9, and this regional in total? Oklahoma State's there, Clemson's there. You just saw them recently. You've got a nice SEC contingent and a couple of ACC schools in there with Duke and Clemson. How do you feel about the regional overall and where you were seated?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the seed doesn't matter to me, or it shouldn't matter to anybody, because there's really 2 types of teams right now. Those who did not get selected for the NCAA tournament, their season's over with, and then those that did get selected and are playing at a regional, and everybody's tied for first. Like, we're tied for first with Oklahoma State and LSU and Duke and Clemson, and so as soon as you start playing golf, then all the rankings and seedings go out the window. So we're tied for first going into the regional. We're 54 holes away from a national championship appearance. And that's the way you got to approach it. And the way our season's gone, it's either we finish top 3 in tournaments, or we finish dead last. And so that's kind of a good thing to have when you go into this regional, because it's like, hey, if we're on this week, and golf's so fickle, like you can, it can come as easy as it goes. But if we're on this week, we're going to make it through. There's no doubt about it. We've proven we can beat anybody in the country. If we're off, hey, it's been a hell of a season, and we made it this far again. And so I don't want our guys to have any anxiety, any nervousness, or scoreboard watching. It's like, hey, if we're out there and everybody's in their groove, we're going to go to California for nationals. If we're a little bit off, just not our week. And that's the way I approach it.
So if you're on, your goal is to finish in the top 5, because that'll get you on to nationals. You did that a couple years ago. So how difficult is that going to be out of this field?
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning of this interview, it wouldn't matter if we went to Columbus or Athens or Corvallis. They're all equally balanced. So you can't look at one regional and say, oh, I wish I would have gone there, because they're all equally tough. So I really think it comes back to us controlling our mindset and the way we approach it. And if we just go out there and understand that if it's our week, nothing magical has to happen. We're good enough to beat anybody. We've proven that. We've beaten Arkansas. We've beaten Oklahoma State. We've beaten Mississippi State, who's at a regional. We've beaten Notre Dame. So we can beat anybody. But we have to play good, so it doesn't matter which names are there. They're all going to be good at this point in the year. It's just, are we prepared to play our best golf? And if we are, we'll have a chance to do it. And if we're a little bit off, then, it might not be our week.
That's such a better political answer by Sean there, Greg. When we do an NCAA basketball tournament, we're on here screaming West Virginia's always in the toughest bracket. Sean handled that much better than we do. Sean, let's talk about some of your guys. We've had a couple of them on throughout the course of the season. Caleb Wilson, Jack Michael, too, that have joined us on this show. We love talking to them. Great young guys and very well-spoken and obviously outstanding golfers. Walk us through where those guys individually are. And let's take Jack Michael first. What a year he's had as a freshman, in-state guy. He's come in and made a heck of a difference for you, hasn't he?
Yeah, anytime a freshman comes in and has that kind of impact, it's almost like icing on the cake. It's a bonus. You weren't expecting a kid who's never played college golf before to come in and have the lowest scoring average of any freshman in WVU golf history. So, I mean, he's played some outstanding golf. He's got a ton of talent, and he's still got a lot to get better at, which is very, very exciting. He didn't play great, or at least he didn't score great at Big 12s, but I thought he hit it phenomenal. He just couldn't convert on some birdies and some good opportunities. And I told him, I was like, if you can just be an average wedge player, like, you're going to be an All-American, So he's just got to work on his wedge game a little bit. But he's got so much talent. I remember the first qualifier at Pete Dye, I was in the fairway watching some drives, and I saw Caleb. His ball landed maybe 280 yards off the tee, 290. Another kid hit it about 290, and then Jack gets up there and flew it over my head about 30 yards. And I went, wow, we may have something here. So it's kind of like a kicker in the, fall camp when he comes to campus and he's bobbing it from beyond the logo there and making 70-yard field goals. That's kind of Jack Michael with the driver.
Coach, one last thing for you. We'll let you go. We hear you're on the road, so we appreciate your time here. How does this position – I know it's all about the regional and hopefully the NCAAs, but many of the guys we've mentioned, Caleb's a senior, but the rest of them are young guys. How does this position this program going forward?
Right, yeah, we do have two guys that have obviously been great players, Caleb Wilson and then Wesley McCabe, who's really started for us a lot. Those are seniors graduating. But, a lot of names are coming back, like Jack Michael, a true freshman, Ryan Leach, a sophomore who's won twice in college, Nick Tarowski, who's had an outstanding year, sophomore out of Pittsburgh. Those are three guys that have started a majority for us. And then we have, a sophomore that transferred in from TCU this year that started, Aiden Dortch, Harrison Thompson, who played great for us at our home event in the lineup. So, yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of depth coming back, but, Caleb's going to go down as one of the greatest to ever play here, so it's going to be hard to replace him. But, we said the same thing about Mark Getz and Logan Perkins when they left, and then here comes Todd Duncan and Max Green. Then they leave. Here comes Caleb Wilson. So he's leaving. So somebody else will step up. But it is exciting knowing we got a lot of guys coming back next year.
Well, again, congratulations on this. We certainly appreciate your time tonight, and good luck getting ready.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Coach John Covich there. Some time off to prepare and practice and get ready.
We've said it before. What a job he's done, right? Taking that program from scratch, Greg, restarting that thing after how many years was it with no program there? He comes in and restarts it. And then the other thing, probably underreported part of this, he stayed. I mean, Sean's had multiple opportunities to go wherever he wants to go, given what he's done to this program. And he and his family have chosen to stay here in West Virginia and continue to build this thing. And now you're on the brink of another national championship appearance if you can get through this regional. What a great job he's done.
Doing so from out of a northern environment. In a sport that doesn't necessarily lend itself greatly to that.
The regional begins May 18th, so about a week and a half away for that 54-hole NCAA Regional Tournament. And the top 5 out of 14 qualify for the NCAA Golf Championships, which will take place starting May the 28th. Text line open, 304-TALK 304. We'll get caught up a little bit with the Kansas baseball program, talk about what West Virginia is heading into starting tomorrow night in that huge Big 12 baseball series. That is all coming up on the CityNet statewide sports line. We're in the Health Plan Studios. Since 1979, the Health Plan has called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses, proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years. The Health Plan.
We are there for you, to care for you at the Health Plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The Health Plan. We are here for you.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps, and never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Charleston picked up over a half inch of rain on Wednesday, but compared to average, we are still behind a bit month to date and year to date. The deficit is still about 4 inches. So our drought map is unchanged today, ongoing moderate to severe drought conditions for much of West Virginia. And we will not see that change, at least not in the direction we want in the next 7 days, because just to keep up with average, we need over an inch of rain in a 7-day period. If that happens anywhere, it's locally north. But most of us just won't see enough even to keep up with average, let alone to see any improvement. Clear tonight, some frost east, then gradually from the north as we head through your afternoon on Friday, a few showers trying to work their way into the region. Widespread wet weather from the west as we head through Friday evening, overnight into Saturday morning. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home, trending warmer through the weekend if you're headed toward D.C., Charlotte, New York, but Chicago cooler on Sunday. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast, this next round, anywhere for a 1/4 inch or more, we have to look about Moundsville and north of there. Meanwhile, bottoming out in low to mid 40s here overnight, and we'll top off in the mid 60s for your Friday. Less than 1/10 of an inch for this next round of rain Friday to Saturday as we start to look east. Temperatures here generally in the 40s overnight. Davis representing a frosty spot. Meanwhile, we'll have highs 69 for Charlestown, 56 for Davis on Friday. You go south of Clarksburg, running into less than 1/10 of an inch. Temperatures that'll be back in some frosty territory towards, say, Snowshoe. Not as much as you push towards, say, Harrisville. And highs ranging from mid-50s in the cool spots to 70 toward Ripley on Friday. South of Charleston might stay dry from the Friday to Saturday round of rain. Temperatures here more mid-30s east to low 40s west, and highs that'll be in the 70s in the warm spots. Additional showers and thunderstorms possible for Mother's Day into Monday morning.
Setting that statewide sports line for this Thursday. Tomorrow night, West Virginia plays Kansas. The Mountaineers ranked 15th in the country. Kansas number 7. Kansas on quite a roll. They've had two of the best seasons in program history in back-to-back years under head coach Dan Fitzgerald. They're in a position to win the league and host a regional, maybe even a super regional. So a little bit earlier on this evening, I visited with play-by-play voice Brian Hanni, talked a little bit with him about the evolution of this Kansas program and what has made the Jayhawks so good the last couple of years.
Well, I think right now, offensively, there's just not a weak link in the lineup. You take a look at 1 through 9, and even their 9-hole hitters hitting .310 and gets on base a ton. Their preseason second-team All-Big 12 player, Dariel Osoria, only recently moved out of the 7th spot to hit 5th, and that moved a guy with 12 homers and 40 ribbies down to the 7th spot in Augusto Mungarieta. The point is, you know about names like Brady Ballinger, who was a preseason All-American, and he got off to a slow start but has been cooking of late, returning to that All-American form. And maybe you've heard about some of the new additions, JC transfers like Cade Baldridge and Tyson LeBlanc, but it's all kind of started to fit together in the last 6 weeks or so to where offensively 1 through 9, there are just no batters off. It is a really good offensive team, and they don't run a ton, but they hit a lot of homers. They get on base a ton, and a group that in Big 12 conference play has hit even better than they were swinging it back in February in the non-con. So, you know, typically you get humbled a little bit when you get to the Big 12 portion of the schedule. They're hitting markedly better against Big 12 pitching, and in this stretch of winning 27 of their last 31 games, they're averaging over 9 runs per game. During the 10-game winning streak, they were averaging 10 runs per game, and they're one of 4 teams in America to have 2 double-digit win streaks this year. So offensively is the first half of it. The second half is guys like Dominic Vagley, who's had 2 15-strikeout games in the last couple of weeks, last 3 weeks of league play, but 2 weeks on the calendar. He's now finding his footing after being a former Big 12 preseason pitcher of the year and freshman All-American. The bullpen depth is as good as I've ever seen it in 20 years of calling their games. And while the third starter position has been a little bit up and down and hit and miss, by and large, as a whole, this pitching staff is really, really deep and really, really good. So I think it's a combination of those two things. Obviously, they've been outstanding at home, 12-0 in Big 12 play at Hoagland Ballpark, but West Virginia has a chance to come in and throw a wrench in the system like Kansas did a year ago up there, and we'll see what that looks like these next 3 days. Augusto Mungarieta's pretty good at gunning down base runners from that catcher's position, good pop time, strong arm, all that, but you've got 3 of the best stolen base players in the Big 12 Conference looking up and down this team with, 3 players with 15 swipes or more. So definitely intrigued to see that aspect of the game. And then obviously, can Kansas stay hot against a talented West Virginia pitching staff? So we'll see. But I'll tell you this much. The home field environment is as good as it's ever been in Lawrence. This team feeds off their student section that Coach Fitz calls the best he's seen in the country, and he was briefly at LSU. And so regardless of what effect that may or may not have on the action on the field, it's a different kind of environment that the Mountaineers are coming into in 2026 than what they were used to their first dozen years of being in this league and coming down here. Baseball matters. Baseball is the talk of the town and the campus, and they're talking about hosting a regional for the first time ever. And prior to Tuesday's loss at Creighton, Kansas was being discussed as a potential national seed, and still could be. But, Baseball America, D1 Baseball, both listing Kansas as a potential top 8 national seed. So we're not used to these types of conversations around here. Only one College World Series team in our history. That was way back in 1993. And KU's not won a regular season conference title since 1949, and that's clearly something that's at stake this weekend as well. So pretty exciting times and uncharted waters for our Jayhawks on the diamond.
Go into, if you can, a bit about how Dan Fitzgerald has built this program. 2 record-setting seasons in a row.
Clearly an amazing job of taking the road less traveled on the JC players in an era where a lot of the SEC schools started throwing money at major conference transfers or continue to go after the 5-star high school seniors if they didn't end up drafting and getting signed and all that. And so he swam upstream when everybody else was using those first 2, pockets to recruit their talent. And he turned in back-to-back-to-back number 1 rated junior college recruiting classes. And it's gotten to the point where, when Kansas starts to show interest in a player in the JC ranks, everybody else comes sniffing around because they realize that the Jayhawks have such a keen eye for talent, and particularly talent at that level that they know will make a seamless transition to Big 12 baseball. And so tremendous coaching staff, John Coyne, his recruiting coordinator, Coach Hancock and Coach Scott, who coach the hitters and pitchers respectively, fabulous at what they do. Ryan Holland, a guy that is a baseball analytics guy on this staff. I mean, it's a really talented group, but Fitz is truly special. And Fitz magic may be a cliched term that we stole from an NFL quarterback, but I'm telling you, we kind of feel like there's something magical brewing because what he's done at this program in, what previously for decades was labeled as a cold climate school with facilities that, back, years ago were kind of run-of-the-mill, and we since have added, new turf, new video board. The next big thing they hope is a new indoor facility. So they're getting better in that regard. Sensational, incredible, I don't know. But Fitzmagic is a real buzz term here in the Sunflower State, that's for sure. And we're hoping that the best is still yet to come.
Yeah, the similarities between Kansas and West Virginia really are stunning. And you mentioned the crowds are coming out, and West Virginia's gone baseball crazy too. Back-to-back regional wins, of course, and the season tickets are sold out at home. They drew 9,000 for a game in Charleston earlier this week, and it seems like Kansas fans are similarly in awe of their baseball program now.
Yeah, and it came in a year where, I hate to admit it, but obviously football didn't make a bowl game when we were supposed to, and basketball didn't make it out of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament when we had potentially the number 1 pick in the draft. And so that's not to speak about disappointments, but it's to say our fan base in general was starved for like a big breakthrough winner in the 25-26 academic year, and this is the team that has stolen the hearts of all the fans campus-wide and Jayhawk nation-wide because they're doing things that, again, we haven't seen in 33 years here, and in some cases haven't seen ever here. The number 7 national ranking is the highest in program history. We don't have quite the facilities that you guys have with Monongalia County Ballpark or the ability to go down the road to Charleston and play in front of 9,000. It's a 2,500 capacity crowd at Oakland Ballpark, but as they start to turn in their hosting bid and all that stuff, they're making the necessary adjustments to add additional fan amenities and fan standing room only type areas or potentially additional seating if it comes to that it might come with hosting a regional in late May. So all of these are not problems, but blessings, challenges that we're happy to take on, but again, things that certainly we're not used to here in the River City.
Brian Hanni there, University of Kansas, comments from about an hour ago. We talked to him, had a commitment tonight, couldn't join us live, but I just think that's the parallels between Kansas and West Virginia in baseball are pretty fascinating. You got a guy in Dan Fitzgerald who had never been a head coach above the junior college level, a longtime assistant at Dallas Baptist, couple of years at LSU, goes to Kansas, starts recruiting. The junior college is hard, and they've had success with JUCO players like West Virginia has had success with Division II players.
Well, and he's a former JUCO coach at Des Moines Area Community College where Brody Kresser played, so certainly understands recruiting in that world. There's no doubt. And, yeah, they've done a fantastic job here in the last couple of years. They've turned into a very quality just program, not just team each individual year. But again, as we said earlier, let's just hope this is a little bit too much pressure, too much success too fast, and that they give a couple back this weekend. Because listen, this is massively important for West Virginia, not only for the Big 12 race, potentially still hanging around for hosting possibilities here. So, yeah, this is a fun big series coming up.
Yeah, that Friday night game, I mean, to lead this thing off, I mean, they've got a really good starter that's their Friday night guy, but Max Yale obviously going for West Virginia. If you could put a little pressure on them and steal one in game one, all of a sudden their coronation tour maybe isn't quite as, triumphant.
Dominic Vagley is how you pronounce the Kansas starter. Dominic Vagley's got 5 wins and 84 strikeouts, but a bit of an inflated ERA at 6.52, where West Virginia, with a healthy and cranked up Max Yell, goes in with a ERA of 2.20.
And Yell's been fantastic.
Yes.
We know what a boost he gave last week. Rested, he's back at it. So here we go. And again, like we talked last night, if you can keep Kansas from knocking down those threes, right? They're big home run hitting team. Keep them in check there. Make them have to grind a little bit. Get a little tight there, Kyle, as that game goes on.
Well,
if you're not hitting any bombs and going. Listen, there is no pressure on West Virginia. The pressure solely resides on Kansas trying to do something it's never done. West Virginia's not supposed to win. It's not supposed to get into position to host at this point. You just go in there and play free and easy.
If there are any Mountaineer fans there, just keep chanting 1949. 1949. They haven't won a conference championship since 1949.
That's hopefully a lot of pressure building right on your back, Kyle. They're carrying a lot of that into that baseball game Friday.
Absolutely. We'll see how it goes this weekend. The series starts tomorrow night. Final break. We'll check the text line 304 Talk 304 when we return on the CityNet statewide sports line.
The WVU Heart and Vascular Institute is recognized among the best in the nation for heart surgery. It's earned the highest 3-star rating from the Society of Thoracic Surgeons in 5 major cardiac surgery categories. Also, WVU Medicine Thomas Hospitals, Camden Clark Medical Center, and Wheeling Hospital received top star ratings for heart surgery. Learn more about WVU Medicine's Elite Heart Program at wvumedicine.org/heart.
Boating season is almost here, and there's no better place to start your family's adventure than Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Family owned for over 40 years, Lou and his sons are West Virginia's largest Avalon pontoon dealer and true experts in boats, motors, and repairs. Explore their impressive inventory and score some of the best deals of the season right now. At Lou Wendell Marine Sales, they don't just sell boats, they sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com and get on the water in style. After all, the weekend's almost here.
I'm Sergeant R.A. Marsh.
And this is Trooper Goodman with the West Virginia State Police.
When working traffic across West Virginia, responding to crashes involving death or injury is the toughest part of our job.
Around here, we're experts at survival, so we know the importance of buckling up.
When you don't buckle up,
you increase your risk of dying in a crash.
Why do we enforce seatbelt laws?
It's not about writing tickets, it's about saving lives.
Come on, West Virginia, we can do this. Please, always buckle up.
A message from the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
What do you know about hot dogs? Because we've been all about hot dogs this week.
I love hot dogs, and I love them with Miracle Whip.
Oh, God, I forgot. Never mind. I forgot
and onions.
Okay.
I actually, yesterday morning, I had a hot dog for breakfast at 6:45 with onions and Miracle Whip.
And with that, we'll be back right after this.
Join Dave Allen weekdays for midday on Metro News Television.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The health plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
Final few minutes, setting that statewide Sportsline. We're in the Health Plan Studios. Kyle, Greg, and Brad. Text line open, 304-TALK 304. Texter asks, name the one head coach in that tournament, which I'm assuming he's talking about the Players era that West Virginia is involved in. Name the one head coach in that tournament who is a native West Virginian. Well, that'd be Josh Pastner
from UNLV.
He's from Glendale, same hometown as Brad Paisley, and famously one of the worst speed traps in all of West Virginia. It's as bad as Summersville.
I was going to say all due respect to Summersville, of course.
Well, so I've never been stopped in Summersville. I got stopped in Glendale.
I don't know why you just said that.
Route 2.
That's like you just broke up the no-hitter right there. Good luck next time going through Summersville.
Everyone knows that you slow down to 25 miles an hour when you go through Summersville. There's no – you just don't mess with it. And now I've learned that in Glendale, whatever – I think the speed limit drops from 55 to like 40, and I got rung up there one time. So now you know that and I was up there going to John Marshall for a high school football game, and the school bus got pulled over for speeding too on that same trip. So Glendale, a speed trap in West Virginia. Texture asks, why are there 3 Big 12 teams in that event? Well, we kind of went through that. It's an obligation. It's a partnership is a better word.
Yeah, and so 8 total get in. If you get a bye in the first round of in the Big East tournament, in the Big 12 tournament, you would get an automatic entry into this players era. So that's why there's so many Big 12s in there.
304-TALK 304 texter says, I have mixed feelings on the new 76-team NCAA format. I always want the Mountaineers to get in. Also want the little guy to make it. It would be interesting to go back the last 5 years and see who were the first 12 out each year and would have made it in the new format. Also check to see how many schools made it compared to the smaller schools. So many, and there'll be more. I think there'll be more of each, right? Or these will these all be middle tier power conference schools?
I don't know about all, but I think that's what some people are complaining about. They're worried it's going to be more high major teams that get in, which, from our selfish perspective, okay, great. That's great.
Yeah, that's West Virginia.
That's what West Virginia wants. Yeah, that helps West Virginia. It's interesting what the texter says, and I know there's so many people that feel the same way, and when you get romantic about the tournament, it's because of the little guy beating the big guy and the upsets that happen early. But if you go strictly by TV ratings, that doesn't bore itself out as the tournament advances. This last year did unbelievable numbers when there weren't very many upsets, and it was big on big as the tournament advanced on. And it's really been like that over the years. People want the upsets based on TV viewership. People want the upsets early and those fun stories on Thursday, Friday, but then clear out because we want to see the really big name brands go at it, and the ratings dictate that almost each year.
Speaking of those ratings, I'll be interested to see now that those, play-in games, those first 4 games, which aren't 4 anymore, if they get better TV ratings, because I'll admit, I don't get tuned in until Thursday, but now that you're going to have games on during the day and there are going to be more of them and more teams you probably know and follow, I'll probably get tuned in more on Tuesday and Wednesday than I have in the past.
Texter points out that after an outstanding visit to the 3 guys, Gavin goes yard twice against Marshall. You, of course, have already pointed that out.
He did. Of course, we pointed that out. He comes on 3 guys, and he was on fire. Schoenfeld comes on this show. He was on fire. So very good. Yeah, Gavin was awesome the other night.
You got one already planned in that we can count on?
Might have to slide somebody in based on this, right? Yeah, Gavin was awesome the other night. What a year he's having. We talked about him earlier in this week. He's just been fantastic, and let's hope he can stay hot here with, what's he have, a home run in 3 straight games? That's 4 home runs over those 3 games. Be nice if he could pick that power up and move it to Lawrence, Kansas this weekend.
Yeah, the team as a whole has come alive in terms of power, 8 home runs in the last 3 games. The texter continues, says, let's hope he keeps it up against KU.
Agree.
Texter says, glad to see Coach Covich and the golf team having a lot of success. I'm heading out to the Truist Championship at Quail Hollow tomorrow. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I can't wait until the day I've got a former Mountaineer golfer to follow. Hope it's coming soon. I could see that happening at some point.
Yeah, I think it's coming soon. Yeah,
We've had some that are close that have played in some of the pro events,
Yep.
but nobody's gotten a complete card, I don't think, yet.
Yep, I agree. Coming soon.
You're going to love this one. Texter says, when I first started listening to Haney, Kansas baseball, I thought I was listening to Charlie Steiner give a report on the LA Dodgers. That's a plant. That's somebody. That's an insider.
We love our guy. He's a good friend of ours, and he's a wonderful dude. He loves his Jayhawks. I mean, he's the play-by-play guy for the Jayhawks.
On that note, 304 Talk 304. Speaking of baseball, the Pirates won today. Pirates over Arizona 4-2. They got a tremendous pitching performance last night from Paul Skeens, and today Mitch Keller goes 6, allows 2 runs, and the Pirates were victorious on the road at Arizona. They take 2 of 3 in that series, and now they move on to San Francisco for a 4-game series.
Your Cardinals took them to task a week ago in PNC. They've been on fire.
Changed the course of the Pirates' season.
Yeah.
That's true.
JJ goes in and destroys them. They got their act together.
Speaking of on fire, Chicago Cubs won again today over the Reds.
Thank you, Kyle. 15 straight at home, rolling through the Central Division there.
15 in a row at home.
Yeah, rolling.
Not that Brad's paying attention.
Locked in. Here we go.
26-12 overall, 18-5 at home. Also, the Guardians won today, and Chase DeLauder in that contest had a double and a walk, so on base twice. DeLauder still over 300 on the year, 306 on the season, and his Guardians are over 500 now after beating Kansas City 8-5 today. All right, well, Greg, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, talk to you then.
That's the Sportsline.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network. All rights reserved.